The abyss, where even the bravest souls fear to tread. Here, amidst the stifling silence, the very air thickens with dread. A creature of unspeakable terror awakens. The Sibriex, enveloped in chains that seem to have minds of their own and draped in festering flesh, it floats in the eternal night. Each of its countless eyes captures a moment of torment, gleaming with tales of malevolence. As its grotesque form shifts and rises, it becomes evident that this monstrosity doesn't merely exist in the abyss. It is the abyss, the embodiment of every whispered fear. It stands as a testament to what horrors lie beyond the boundaries of our understanding. An unsettling stink of rotting flowers surrounds the large, bloated figure that floats lazily in the air. The demon is hardly more than a malformed face the size of a wagon. Where its ears should be are instead a pair of atrophied arms with hands ending in tremulous digits. Instead of a body, everything below its neck is a writhing nest of puckers and stalks. It is tethered to the surrounding ground by 4 steel chains that end in razor-sharp spikes. Sibriexes are ancient beings of the abyss. It is said that when Tharizdun first plunged the shard of evil into the heart of the elemental chaos, he freed the last of the Oberists from their decaying universe, thus creating the abyss. The demons known as Sibriexes were spawned from clans of Oberith slavers, savants, and flesh crafters. They haunt the abyss and the planes beyond, dedicated only to increasing their power. Sibriexes are creatures of an alien universe. Demonologists argue over what motivates these mad creatures, but the inner workings of the Sibriex mind will never be known. Regardless, their chaos manifests as a thirst for the subjugation, transformation, and destruction of all other creatures. Even the other demons with which the Sibriexes are now kin, they regard as raw material for their experiments. And speaking of which, Sibriexes view the grafting of flesh as an art form. Their ability to create grafts out of raw abyssal chaos makes them valuable and can be employed by creatures across the abyss, though in most cases it's only a matter of weeks before the Sibriex itself becomes in charge, with its supposed master a charmed puppet at the demon's beck and call. The highly intelligent Sibriex warps not only the physical reality around them, but twists the minds of those nearby. Those that dared to approach them were not only poisoned by their toxic aura, but they risk their minds being tainted by a Sibriex's eldritch influence and could start viewing it as the perfect life form. Such a mind-warping power drained the victim's personality and self-esteem. Sibriexes have the ability to warp and graft several creatures nearby, including humanoids, permanently turning them into deformed monstrosities known as abyssal wretches, or manes, the lowest form of demon kind, wretched little creatures who attack any non-demon they see. The Sibriex was not only capable of all this, but its true greatest power was creating legions of demons out of other creatures, so many that within a few days they could create vast forces to defend them. Their warping was generally temporary if agonizing, wearing off if the victim could resist the effects, and if for whatever reason a being wanted to accept a Sibriex's flesh warping, they could undergo an excruciating, hour-long process that permanently transforms them without turning them into a wretch. Some also claim they can graft flesh instantly, a limited amount of times a day, using abyssal chaos as material. This warping includes expansion, reduction, multiplication, transition, creation, animation, and otherwise alteration of one's anatomy in any way the Sibriex can imagine. It is an art, after all. Sibriexes could also freely manipulate their 4 chains with their telekinesis. Each of these chains was extremely deadly, acting as weapons that are highly durable. It also has feeding tubes that hang off the lower ends of their bodies, from which they can shoot highly acidic black bile at their enemies, liquefying them instantly. Most Sibriexes, if threatened, would just immediately strike down their foes without a second thought with their acidic bile. If particularly outnumbered, they may charm foes to their side. Then, if it's feeling particularly vengeful against the attacking party, they can use Feeble Mind to disable enemy spellcasters, turning their minds to mush. All of this while chains fly in from all sides with extreme reach. Single fluid motions by gracefully striking one chain and anchoring it to let the other chains hit. And if it has a combat easily won, which most times it does, it views it as a testing ground for experiments, restraining foes before warping their flesh and turning them into terrifying monstrosities over excruciating hours of grafting. With the Sibriex's unique talent, their unique art of grafting, they were highly valued by demon lords and other high spellcasters throughout the Abyss. They would be hired on by these masters, given exorbitant amounts of gold, art, riches, servants, in order to work for them. But if under the thumb of a master, they always sought out viable opportunities to betray them, becoming more domineering and wicked. This process typically only takes a few weeks, unless the Sibriex is stopped, as they eventually take control of whatever environment they are in, using their innate charm, monster, and feeble mind abilities to convert their supposed masters into their puppets at their command. Some Sibriexes were sought out and employed by demon lords not to craft flesh, but to use their incredible knowledge to act as advisors and oracles. Sibriexes still manipulated their employers for their own ends. Sibriexes are cruel. It is apparent that they take personal satisfaction in dominating, modifying, and destroying all other life forms. Extremely intelligent and incredibly perverse, they enjoy bullying and tormenting weak creatures. In the end, they are really only concerned with their own power, and over the eons, they have accrued a vast amount of information. So if your party does encounter a Sibriex and has managed to fight off armies of guards, grafted demons, abominations before you, wave after horde, they will attempt to warp you, to graft you. And though it takes time to turn you into a full abomination, it can easily do other things while exhausting you and poisoning you, such as causing you to grow claws out of your hands, switching your arms and legs, preventing you from moving unless you crawl, can cause you to swell, tripling your weight, or become thin and skeletal, halving your weight, or even grow you another head. Happens to give you advantage on saving throws against being charmed, frightened, or stunned, so not all bad. But in the end, it will either beat you down with its chains, liquefy you with its bile, warp you into an abomination unrecognizable, or turn your mind to mush if it hasn't already charmed you. So retreat is the only solution against a Sibriex. And as we retreat from the enigmatic chasm of the Abyss, the haunting presence of the Sibriex lingers. This monstrosity, bound in chains and mired in corruption, serves as a chilling reminder of the unfathomable terrors that lurk in the Abyss. Sleep with one eye open, for the tales of the Sibriex are not easily forgotten.